No, he's just sitting up there. He dropped the flowers after ripping them off the stem, and now he's up in the tree and he's not even eating the flowers. He's eating something totally different. Who does that? Okay, well, as you can see, I'm having a little trouble with my gardening. If you will recall, 3 weeks ago, I decided I would try giving gardening a go for the first time in my life. And it went pretty well, building the planters, filling them with dirt, planting the flowers, everything's fine. First problem, I planted in April. And in this part of the world, you just don't do that. The plant centers are open and they're very friendly. I should have clued into the fact that there were no other customers. But I planted and it was so warm and it was nice. And the first few nights, I was worried. Every time it rained, I would worry about the plants, but they seemed to be doing really well. And then frost warnings. So, for a number of nights, like for about a week, we had frost warnings every night here. So I had to go out, grab each of the planters, fully loaded. They're about 50 pounds. So I'm dragging 100 pounds of flowers in. And then, because there's 2 planters, 100 pounds of flowers in. And then every morning dragging 100 pounds of flowers out. Rather unpleasant way to start the day. And if I had to go to work early, man, it hasn't been easy. But the biggest problem has been the furry little friends in our backyard. I love them. They're very cute. And they have a right to live there. Absolutely. But when they start messing with my flowers that I'm putting this much effort into, I needed something to repel the squirrels. And I tried, if you look online, there's all these things. I tried coffee grounds in the earth. I tried garlic powder. I heard I should take hair from my dogs because it has their scent on it and they're predators, and I should just leave that in the flowers. But then you've just got dog hair all over your garden. That's not very nice. Look, the whole point of having a garden is so that it looks kind of nice. So I failed at all of these things. The squirrels were not impressed with any of these things. I came up with this idea on my own. It seems to work. I will share it with you because it actually is night and day. At this point, the squirrels are going nowhere near the Gerber daisies, and it's been like at least a week and a half. So I'm pretty confident this works because they were in there every day before this. So this seems to work for my squirrels. Maybe your squirrels are smarter than my squirrels. I don't know. Try not to put like a lid on the thing because I think, putting the flowers in prison is just, I don't know why I would do that. At that point, why have a garden at all? But this way, at least I can kind of see the flowers. The flowers can see the sun. It still feels like there's a garden and it doesn't look terrible. So I thought I would show you how I did it. In case you're having the same kind of problem with your galvanized tub gardening, maybe it will help. I don't know. Back before Christmas, I did a video about how to make a holiday light ball, how you create a frame with some 12 gauge wire, and then you stretch the chicken wire over that 12 gauge wire, and then you string Christmas lights all through it, and you can make like this cool holiday ball thing that I always wanted to make. And it worked pretty well. And I had some left over. And so I thought, well, okay, smarty pants. Let's figure out some solution with the stuff you've got here. You're all about not wasting stuff and using the things you've got and trying to build something rather than buy something. So let's, see if we can figure something out. I had cut the chicken wire package in half before I started making the Christmas ball because it's just way easier to manage half a roll of chicken wire than the whole thing. It's very unwieldy taking the whole package and trying to work with that. This height of chicken wire is perfect because it's just high enough that it repels squirrels apparently, but also it doesn't flap around in the wind. It's not high enough to flap around in the wind. Obviously it's mostly holes, so the wind is just going right through the thing. But even in great storms, I have not seen this thing move an inch. So as you can see here, I used a soft tape measure to take a measurement of the circumference of the galvanized tub. If you don't have a soft tape measure, no problem. Take a piece of string, yarn, anything flexible, run it around the rim, cut it off or mark it, and then just measure how long the string is with whatever kind of tape measure you got. I unrolled it, I found the right measurement, I cut a little bit extra off, then I took the cut edges of the chicken wire and I started folding them in on themselves to create a closed circle. This is pretty easy to do. You do want to wear gloves. You definitely want to wear eye protection. You probably want to have sleeves on because, chicken wire can cut you, but it's not that hard to do. It's going to hold its circular shape, but it's not going to be a perfect circle. And that was where I was first kind of confounded because You really don't want to put something ugly on the top of your nice planter. I kind of like the look of these planters. I know they're just feed pails, and so if you work on a farm, you're probably laughing at me right now, but I really like the way they look. I wanted to have a perfect circle at the top, at least, of my chicken wire security fence. And so I grabbed some of the 12 gauge wire that I made the frame for the holiday light ball with. I just sort of wove it from inside to out and then outside to in and inside to out and outside to in through each hexagonal shape in the chicken wire at the very top row, and I went all the way around. Now, the 12 gauge wire, because it came wrapped in a circular shape, it wants to hold that shape. So when I was cutting it, I was careful not to flatten it perfectly. I think you saw in the Christmas light bulb video, I showed you how to flatten out a piece of wire with your drill. I did not do that this time because I wanted to keep its circular tendency. I wanted the memory that is in the wire from the way it was packaged to hold and help me create a perfect circle. I just needed that circle to be a little bit bigger. So I stretched it a little bit and sort of coaxed it into a bigger circular shape before I did this weaving. But then, after you weave it inside and outside each little pocket of the chicken wire, it basically forms a perfect circle at the top, and it makes the chicken wire look that much nicer. It actually looks semi-professional, I would say. Final thing, some of the chicken wire was poking up over the top, obviously, because I was just sort of weaving in and out. So I just folded that over and allowed the 12 gauge wire to become the rim of my new high intensity, maximum security, squirrel proof garden wall fence. And it worked. It looks pretty good. And I'll tell you, it's been a week and a half. And prior to that week and a half, every day I was coming out to see like flower carnage. It was not pretty. It was like a horticultural edition of Game of Thrones. But now every day for a week and a half, nothing. I have so far won the battle with the squirrels. We're getting along much better now. Could the squirrels get smarter and figure out a way to Mission Impossible MacGyver their way into this thing? Probably. I guess if that happens, I'm making a lid after all. But until then, this seems to be working, so fingers crossed for me. Please. Please. So I hope that helped you out. From one non-expert gardener to another sort of thing, but it does seem to work. And so if that can be of help to you, all the better. And I'm sure out there are some expert gardeners who probably have better ideas. So if you want to leave those in the comments below, I'm more than willing to hear them. That would be awesome. And if you want to like or subscribe, that would be great too. Given my failures with the garden, it's always pleasant to wake up to, the little email YouTube sends you when someone new subscribes. It'd really cheer me up. Okay, until next week, take care, have fun, stay safe with your DIY projects, and I'll see you next Saturday, if the squirrels don't get me first.